Welcome back, everybody. This is now, I want to count this as my second video, but whatever you want to call it. This took a lot longer than I wanted it to be. This took a lot longer than I wanted to take to get out because there was a lot of behind the scenes problems. I ran out of my free trial on my editing software and didn't feel like paying for it. So by the time the first drip video had dropped, the first video covering the game, I should say, that was when I got it up and running again when I paid for it, when my mom paid for it. And that was really fun to make. This one, however, took me way longer than expected. I should have been done by the day before yesterday, at least on the script. But I just finished, technically speaking, I just finished today and I'm recording same day. But besides that, I've just been playing the game, getting clips, and, let's just get into it. As we kick off part 2 of, the series, we go back to Noelle in 3rd grade trying to understand some of the problems the teacher's saying, but apparently it's like Charlie Brown and all the adults just speak straight gibberish, so she's forced to put down random answers and feels kind of upset and conflicted about it, because grades are super important to her because of how strict her parents are. But then Dia randomly tells her to wake up, and we find ourselves on the playground with Dia. As Dia wakes up Noelle from her apparent zoning out, she gives Noelle a present for her birthday. It's a giant green snake named Snaky, and he's striped. Dia won it for Noelle at one of those, fair games where you gotta swing the hammer. After that, Dia takes Noelle to go meet her new friend Min, who I guess was just waiting in the field for Dia and Min to arrive. Anyway, after bringing Noelle to Min, Dia just stands there awkwardly and hopes for them to just introduce themselves. When Min sees the giant snake plushie that Dia got Noelle, Min got really jealous and decides to fight Noelle to the death because Dia can only have one best friend, which I guess makes sense to her. And after what can only be described as Noelle winning the fight because she didn't die, she goes home and is instantly berated by her mom about her test scores, even though she only got an A-, talking about how another kid got accepted into a bunch of Ivy League colleges, comparing her to him. After storming off to her room, rightfully so, and reading her study books for the next year, she notices some kids playing badminton in the driveway and talks to herself about how she's better than them because she doesn't go outside for fun and they'll end up working at McDonald's or something like that. After Noelle recovers from her flashback, we see Liz, one of the seniors from the baseball club, reminding Noelle that she's up to bat. As she walks up to bat, Arkacha tries to play a mental trick on Noelle but fails horribly, as you probably assume. After swinging the bat, the ball pops up and Noelle makes a very lame sprint for the base. Emphasis on very and lame. But she's so slow that Krissa, the other senior, catches the ball before Noelle could even make it halfway to first base. Since she sucks so much at sports, Noelle was confused on why she had to go back just because the ball was caught. After having everyone explain to her how baseball works, she begrudgingly walks back and goes to the field to catch with the rest of the group because that's how they're playing since it was just a practice. As she looks over, she notices Dia is scared of a bee that was near her and punches the bee and stomps it out, because that makes sense, I guess. After defeating the bee, Dia asks Min when she moved back, and Min explains that they moved back about 2 weeks ago, and that she used to go to Niles to high school with her brother June, but she got expelled. Not questioning the whole expelled part, Dia goes back to questioning Min about how life was in Florida, and she explains that everyone there was white and racist there. After the next batter strikes out, Liz passes the ball to Arkacha. She somehow drops it, and everyone disapprovingly shakes their head, but she tries to say it was a trick of the light and that it wasn't really her. Now it's Dia's turn to bat, and she hits the ball like a monster. After she knocks it out the park, Min, being the supportive best friend she is, cheers Dia on, and everyone else agrees that was pretty impressive. Once it's Min's turn to bat, she picks up the heaviest bat she can find and is not budging on picking up anything lighter, despite Liz telling her that she should use a smaller bat. Now it's Akarsa's turn to pitch, and she's doing what she usually does and tries to get inside Min's head with a psychological trick, which, again, doesn't work. But Liz has the idea of having Akarsa and Noelle switch, since Noelle hasn't had a lot of time to actually play. Once she's on the mound, Min tells her to bring it on and then insults her, and to Noelle's confusion, she asks why she did that and says that they're on the same team now. Min, again, has to explain to Noelle how baseball works. To prove that she at least knows a little bit about baseball, Krista asks her to name a baseball team, to which she says the Oakland A's. To everyone's shock, she actually knew a baseball team. After that whole situation, Noelle finally pitches and throws the ball as hard as she could, just for it to go barely halfway to Min. Liz says that since it's landed halfway, they'd count it as a ball and explains to Noelle what a ball is. Akarsa has an awesome idea of just pulling your pants all the way up to your armpits to botch the idea of what a strike zone actually is. After Krista told her to lock in, she throws the ball again, but it falls in the exact same spot, to everyone's not shocking, but still disappointment. After disappointing the group twice, Dee explains to Krista that Noelle can't throw it that far, because she's weak, and Krista decides to switch Noelle and pitch for her. Once she hands the ball to the new pitcher, she walks out to the field with the rest of the group, and Akarsa hands her a dandelion and says one of her usual corny jokes, and Noelle points out that a dandelion is a weed, not a flower. After Min smashes the pitch and Dia runs after it, Dia throws the ball to Akarsa, but she fumbles the ball and tries to say it wasn't her, but an Akarsa from a different universe who fumbled the ball, and she's back in the universe where she did catch it. Now it's Akarsa's turn to pitch, and she does what can only be described as a ritual, as she walks up to home base. After swinging, the ball is sent flying in Noelle's direction, and after fumbling to catch it, it hits her on her head, and Akarsa says it was a ghost instead of actually apologizing like a good friend. Now it's Min's turn to pitch, and she holds the ball in this insanely odd grip. She pitches the ball and has 0 rotation. Halfway to home base, the ball does a little hiccup, a small one, but enough to odd out Krista enough to not swing. Krista has this very long-winded and not really needed explanation of what a knuckleball pitch actually is, and Min explains that she never had anyone to really teach her how to play. She just taught herself, watched recordings, and copied that. Min also explains that the whole reason she wanted to learn how to throw knuckleballs is so that Dia could catch them for her, and they'd be a pitcher-catcher duo like in the major leagues, and decides to show the rest of the group how good a duo the two of them are. After shocking the entire group with their insane duo work, Krista and Liz decide to end the day off since it's already been 2 hours since they started, and that really shocked Noelle because she seemed like she wasn't having fun. Min and Dee decide to race up the hill, but the rest of the baseball club decides to walk at a regular pace while carrying the baseball gear. After talking with Krista and Liz and having a bonding moment of sorts, Krista pats Noelle on the head, and Noelle tries to escape but ends up falling down, leaving Krista to try and help her up. After walking up the hill to the door that leads to the locker room, Noelle notices that Min ran into a locked door without actually checking if it was locked or not at first, and is complaining that it hurts. After pointing out that the door is locked, Min tells Noelle not to tell her what to do and pulls out a lighter and a cigarette and starts to smoke. To Goody Two-Shoes, to Noelle's shock, she exclaims that smoking is illegal in Cali if you're under 18, and Min asks if she's a cop because he has such a problem with Min smoking. After exchanging a few more words, Akarsa asks Min if she can get a smoke, and Noelle comes in with the interception and smacks the cigarette into a pile of dry pine leaves near them, and that spirals into a fire. Great job. After screaming in unison, Akarsa, Noelle, and Min try and come up with ideas to put out the fire, but they settle on using Dia's jacket to put out the fire because she's the one who doesn't care about her jacket the most. After putting out the fire, Krista and Liz make their way to the locked door that had previously bodied Min, and they question the group on why it smells burnt, and Akarsa blames it on Jerry, who doesn't exist if that wasn't obvious, and the whole group just went with it. After coming home from that chaotic day, her mom instantly presses her about this Chinese American who sold his company for over $1 billion and donated like $200 million to some college, and now he has a part of the college named after him, and asks her why she can't be like him, and puts it on her wall to remind her to lock in, I guess. But like, honestly, let me just like rant this like really quick, because I never understood the whole like why she was so excited over the whole naming after the college part. Because even at my middle school, there was this guy who taught at the school way longer than anybody else in the school, right? And they named the gym after him. But in all my 3 years of going to that middle school, halfway through my last year there, my third year there, is when I found out that he had the gym named after him. Because I just saw it on the plaque at the top, like the exit thing. Nobody even really calls it like his name gym. They just call it the gym because, who wants to go through all that process? But back on topic. Noelle checks her laptop and Akarsa is talking about how Min and Noelle were childhood enemies and essentially Dia's ex. Noelle corrects Akarsa and tells her that she did have an enemy, but the whole Min being Dia's ex, in quotations, thing is fake and wouldn't make sense because they're both girls. Akarsa is shocked to hear Noelle actually had an enemy and wonders what she's going to do about Min, and Noelle explains that she won't do anything because Dia already had Min promise not to do anything to Noelle, so she's technically the safest one in the whole school. As any good friend would do, Akarsa tells Noelle that she has to do something soon about Min, because Min is friends with Dia and Akarsa now, but Noelle is vehemently against doing anything about Min because she is dangerously stupid. After having a Jimmy Neutron brain blast, Akarsa tells Noelle to join the baseball club, because in movies when two characters don't really like each other and they end up in situations where they can't avoid interacting, they end up being best friends. And after arguing, like a lot of arguing, with Akarsa invites Noelle to the baseball club group chat, and Min instantly catches attitude, and Noelle literally only just said hi to Dia. And after trying to make a burn on Noelle, she corrects Min on her spelling, and Min insults her, and Akarsa copies Min like almost perfectly, like a mime. Min calls Noelle an overachieving Asian stereotype, and she clocks that by saying that Min is going to go to a community college and end up working at McDonald's. And Akarsa tries to fix the problem by pointing out that they shouldn't be fighting because they have so much in common. But that doesn't seem to work and only really makes things worse. After Noelle and Min go back and forth between changing the group name to something funny yet obscene to the actual baseball club group name, Akarsa decides to find a middle ground and change her name to something funny but offensive to Noelle, but more funny than offensive in my opinion. After dropping a Full Metal Alchemist quote on Noelle, Akarsa said Noelle made her cry because she was rude to her, but Noelle doesn't budge and says if she doesn't change her name back, she won't be her buddy for group projects. So she changed her name back. And after the whole situation died down, Akarsa wonders if there's any weird loopholes or like workarounds they can abuse in baseball to win, like releasing multiple balls out at once as if that wouldn't actually confuse them too. After finding that out, Akarsa decides to use yaoi paddles instead of regular baseball bats, but Dia reminds her that there are rules and regulations on the baseball bats too. After having another Jimmy Neutron brain blast, Akarsa thinks about breaking a bat in half so they could dual wield, but Dia again reminds her that there are rules about damaged bats. But Akarsa says her backup plan is to replace Dia's bones with synthetic ones, or nanomachines. But Noelle tells her that nanomachines are still a theoretical field and shows her that nanocars don't even have a motor. They don't do anything. And Noelle goes on a very long-winded rant about how they should use gene therapy, if anything. And Akarsa agrees with the idea. And after finding out that no one's done it before, she thinks Dia could be, a gene doping pioneer in the sports field. Somehow, the conversation makes an immediate turn to Akarsa finding out about this British guy who became the world's first human cyborg from 2004, who wanted to do it and even had it on his passport that he was a cyborg, which makes him seem kind of desperate if you really ask me. Now the whole group is clowning on this guy for putting the antenna on his head, and Dia says to him, feel bad about your looks, just remember that he exists. Although suddenly, Noelle's mom bursts through her door into her room on some stalker activity and questions why she's smiling, and immediately assumes she's talking to a boy and says that there's no boyfriend until college. After trying to pull the carpet on her mom and switching to a school tab, her mom grabs the mouse from her hand and goes to the group chat tab and immediately questions who Albert Einstein was. And Noelle explains that it's Akarsa, the other smart girl in her grade, who almost beat her in a test. And her mom becomes her greatest hater or something, and tells her that everyone is her enemy and no one really cares about her, and only her family will be there for her, and closes the group chat and forces Noelle to go back to work. While talking to herself, Noelle points out that her mom has nothing better to do because she has no friends and lives vicariously through her. After her mom leaves, she curls up with her giant snake plushie and opens the group chat again and tells the group she decides to join the baseball club. Okay, so this is gonna be my outro for now, for this, at least for this video. Sorry if you hear any weird audio in the background or anything, like any cuts or background noise. I don't feel like editing this, and I never will. I just feel like putting clips on the background, and that's just how I run things. But I do apologize if you hear me take loud breaths or the clicking and clattering or anything in the background. But like I said in the intro, this took way longer than I really wanted it to. Way longer than I really wanted it to. But hey, that's okay. That gave me more time to really look over the video and edit it and tweak it to what I really wanted it to be. But I'm still gonna keep the raw audio of it. That's my way of being genuine when it comes to this, because it's something that I really want to do. It's not something that I want to turn into a genuine job. It's just something that I do on my free time. So I'm just going to keep it as genuine as possible. But I'm still going to put my effort into editing and stuff like that. Hey, here's to my second video. Oh wait, no, this is my second. Here's to my third video coming out. Butterfly Soup Part 3. But I hope everyone has a wonderful day or night whenever you're seeing this. Just don't worry about life too much. Everything will fall into place. Like Baby Tron said, sometimes you gotta wait in line. It's not everybody's time to shine. You just gotta wait in line. With that said, hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.